Hello and welcome back to Guillotine Games. In this video I just wanted to talk real quick about how I do my planning for a truck route. In this particular case, I've got a simple truck station here that's going to be running underneath this train station with its conveyors to connect up to what the train is supplying to the aluminum facility in the background there. And this particular truck station is going to be for bauxite. So you can see I've got a bridge off in the distance so the trucks can come in, run down this lane, and then pull into their station. And this area here is for future truck stations should I want to bring in any other materials to supplement for the aluminum facility. When I do my truck loops, I like to try my best to make them not cross each other's paths, whether they're leaving or coming back. So I like to try and very carefully plan out, I'll call it an oval or a circle, but it's going to wind its way through the terrain, but the key is not to cross paths with, other locations where other trucks running the same route might, have collisions and whatnot. And that's part of the planning process. That's very important. Before I start to drive the truck to actually plan the route, though, the first thing I do is I walk it a few times, and I've already done that, so I think I kind of know roughly where I'm going. But one of the things that I do is I take some random object. I've used power poles for this before, but sometimes I use road barriers. And I walk the route, or in this case hover pack the route. I won't be able to do that much longer, but I'm going to just walk the route and place road barriers. And I try to keep them all to one side. And the reason that I do this, and these will be removed later, but when I actually want to drive the route in the truck and record the route, I then have some point of reference that I can use. This allows me to run up and see, which way do I want to go before I put that next barrier down. And it's pretty clear that we need to make our way over this hill. So these just become markers. This is going to be real steep for that truck. Could go down in the river. Don't want to do that though. I'm going to go ahead and plan to come up over this ridge. So I'm just going to keep marking where I plan to go. This also helps me plan what trees I have to cut down, if any, and how to deal with any complications that might arise. So mark that. If we were using tractors, I'd use a slightly different route. They don't handle these steep ridges as well. Trucks do fine though. So this is all a pretty clear path here, so I'm just gonna keep on running with that. It'll be real obvious staying between the river and the cliffs. And just that. I may come back through with some dynamite just to pop those rocks out of the way. Don't think it'll be necessary. We shall see. Now from here, as I wrap this corner, I believe I have to go up this way. There's a lake that feeds that river. Yeah, we're actually headed up there, roughly where my pointer is pointed, or my hammer. Let's see here. Go like this. There's a node here. Normal limestone. I don't think I'm going to need that one, and I can always reroute the trucks later. So I think we'll just be okay getting kind of close to that node. Luckily out here in this desert, there's a lot of room to maneuver. So then we're going to come up across here. We'll just be a little sideways, kind of leaning over a little bit, or we can drive in that trench. Either way is fine. Then you can see here, this is the other station. So in this station, the truck is going to come in and There's bauxite running here. It drops down. It's way up on top of that cliff. Comes down through a cave and then comes out to the station. So the truck will come in. We'll load up on bauxite. And then it's going to head out this way. We're not going to turn back and go the way we came, even though that's a clear path. Again, I'd like to avoid, because I might use multiple trucks, I like to avoid going on the same route. And we're going to avoid that valley down there where we just came up. There is... Ooh, I've got power here. Now, getting off of this cliff is going to be probably not worth the time and effort. Though I could go way back that way and around. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think that valley is wide enough, so we're going to go ahead and head in there, even though I don't like to do that. We're going to do it. I'm going to lose power, so I'm going to get off of that. So what we'll do is we'll just come in here, and you can see my other road barriers right there. That's the way we came in. But I'm going to plan to stay low as I wrap around this section. And that way, if I add multiple trucks on that same route, they won't have any chance of collision. Yeah, it's way off in the distance. We should be fine. Next challenge is going to be figuring out how to get off this little plateau we're on. There's a lake and a river. River is not a problem. It's very shallow. But we do need to find a way down. I think this is all a little cliff that drops down. You can see here, a little bit of a cliff. This is probably the way, the same way we came down. Luckily it's wide. And then what we'll do is probably cross the river here. So let me go ahead and put this here. Let me go back and make sure my other barrier is not confusing. So we're coming around this way. Just do that. That'll let me know that we've got to go back in here. And that we intend to cross the river. It's real shallow. We don't even need to build a bridge here if we don't want to. And again, I'm going to get rid of all these barriers. They definitely don't stay out here. This is just to make it so that when I get in the truck and drive the route, I know roughly where I'm supposed to be going. We need to get down to that level down there. This looks like a real good option here, so this is what it's going to be. It's real easy to lose your way in this desert, that's for sure. Just like the real thing. And now I can't find the last barrier. And there's one way back there on the rock. Oh, wait a moment. Did we not need to be up here at all? So we could just go down there into that wash. Yeah, yep. I don't think we need to be up here at all. And you can imagine if you're just driving the truck, even after walking it multiple times, it's still pretty easy to lose sight of where you should be going. Now, there's ways of getting around that. You can run power out here and use your hover pack. And just being able to get a little bit off the ground helps you see a lot better. Oh, 3 screws. Good thing I don't need those right now. I think if we just swing around in this wash. There we are. Now we can stay low. And then maybe run back this way if we can fit. I'll probably blow up that rock because, so as you plan a route and the truck is turning, one thing I've noticed is that the trucks, when they're in automated mode, when they're automatically driving, seem to take a wider turn than when than what you originally planned. I don't know why that is, but that's just what they do. So that aluminum plant is where we're headed. Let's plan to go this way. An awful lot of crashed junk out here. Well, I think what we're going to do is we're going to go this way. Start planning a bit of a turn here. I think I'm going the right way here. But planning it out this way really helps me make sure that I have no wasted drive time, or at least minimal wasted drive time. The longer it takes that truck to deliver, the worse your throughput's going to be. Alright, and look at that. We are back. So that's it. Just running those road barriers as markers gives me something to follow. And obviously we'll stay on the road for this part, so that's easy. I have to finish decorating here too, so this is not done. But I wanted to get the truck route planned to kind of think about it. I don't think that route's going to take very long either, but that's the other advantage in driving it with the actual vehicle, is that you kind of get an idea for how long it's going to take to make a loop. Now before I actually record the route, I take one more step just to make sure I'm familiar with it, and that is to just drive the route and see if we run into any trouble, like these dunes and such. You do have to be careful on them. You can definitely flip your vehicle very, very easily. And remember, the road barriers will be gone once we're done recording the route. It's definitely going to be an interesting one. We're in the air so much. Should have used a drone. Okay. All that looks fine. It's very open. I'm going to probably cut down, see that tree to the left? Well, what's left of it, that little stump. I'm going to cut a few of those out of there because of the trucks taking those wider turns. Now right here, this is going to be a shared part of the route. So I'm going to probably move that barrier to widen it a little bit so that I can, when recording, I can go ahead and make sure that I can swing that wide enough. Don't like how close that is. And we're saving. There we are. So I'm going to move this out just to give myself more room when coming up, because the other truck going the other way, or other trucks, will need as much room as possible. Alright. Now again, this is a shared part of the route. It's nice and wide though, so it shouldn't be an issue. We'll just make sure we stay high on the hill, and then on the way back down we'll make sure we stay low. And now we're on a one-way section, so this is all easy and obvious. And we'll do our load. I'm going to make sure I don't go in the station right now, so it doesn't try and fill me up with bauxite right yet. This section's all real obvious. So again, just staying close to the barriers so that I know I'm roughly where I intended for the truck to go. This is all shared part of the route. This is the section that I want to be real careful on to make sure that I'm leaving plenty of room for the other trucks coming the other way. Have to go through the river. I actually intended to go pretty close to that site so I didn't have to deal with this little ridge. So this is why I pre-drive it. I won't make that mistake the second time coming through, hopefully, when I'm actually recording. This also gives me an idea, too, of how fast can I go through certain sections. This section's really tight. I might have to cut out that palm tree, that big one. Hopefully not. I would like to avoid that if possible. Alright, pretty sure we're headed out this way. There's our barriers again. This may seem like a lot of extra effort. I could have just started recording and then, maybe messed up a couple times and retried. And that can work too. Whatever works for you. I like placing something down to kind of use as a guide. Makes it a lot easier, for me at least. I am going to destroy those cactuses so that we don't have to do that weird part of that turn. And I have no idea what we just ran into. Oh, there's a little stump in there. That we're going to have to get rid of too. So that's a couple things now. We can go around with a chainsaw and some explosives and we can clear out all the rocks and stumps. And that will make the recording part much, much smoother. Okay, now that we have cleared all of the debris in the way, we are ready to record the actual truck route itself. So I won't bore you with the entire thing here, but at least show you what that looks like. In the bottom there, you can see where it says open record menu. We hit start recording. At that point, the menu will stay in your face, but down in the lower right, you can see that it's recording. So we can just hit Q again to close it. And we'll be able to come back and edit any pauses in the route, like where you had to pause briefly and stop driving for whatever reason. But it is best to try and keep it fairly smooth. When you go slow, it'll put more arrows on the ground. When you go fast, it'll put fewer. And that's basically how it determines the speed that the truck's going to go for the recording. You can also delete those points and make it go faster, but it also alters the route slightly, so you do have to be careful. So the goal is going to be to end up right back where we started the recording. It'll have a little yellow thing on the ground for us to shoot for. And we're going to want to pause at each station. Make sure we're fully stopped just for a couple seconds. We can come back and edit the duration of that pause after the fact. You want to edit them. I like to put about 24 seconds in. That seems to work out pretty well. I did try and blow up some of these rocks. A lot of these rocks out here in the desert can't be destroyed, unfortunately. Sorry, little buddy, but you're in the way. I also hit the key to go ahead and load. materials and unload in each location, just so I can kind of get an idea of the timing. You look in the lower right, you've got like a progress bar. So I make sure that fully runs out. It's not necessary though. All that matters is the pause symbol that shows up afterwards that we can edit. Okay. This goofball underneath my truck is now causing problems while I'm recording. We'll have to clean that up later. Okay, we're now mixing into the section where trucks will be going both ways. So we're just making sure that we stay down low. Lots of room here though. These barriers and all of that prep work makes driving it while recording much easier, so you can just focus on the smooth driving and making sure the recording works. Except for when wildlife is in the way, excuse me, coming through. This is not a two-way bridge, it is only one way. I put the line down the middle just for decorative effect, so we can hog both of these. Generally a two-lane road, where you have traffic going both ways, you want at least 3 blocks wide. Alright. Bit of a tight turn here. We unload. The conveyors underneath are not yet connected, but we can see we actually brought bauxite in for that trip. You can also see down there in the sand, there's the little flag telling us where we stop the drive and save the recording of the route. That's a 4-meter ramp I'm going down. You can go down those. You don't want to ever try and come up them because vehicles will stall out typically. And it tells you there that you can, save your path. You don't want to skip this step. You can give it whatever name you want here. Try to be descriptive just so I know. If you forget to save that step, you'll likely lose your route. You've been warned. Okay, so now that we have the route, we still have to assign a truck to the route, but we also want to actually go through and make sure that the pauses are set correctly and eliminate any extraneous nodes. So the route's there, and we can just ignore that now and just go ahead and take a look here. I am gonna leave these arrows in so the truck goes slow. Although, if you take a look here, sorry, I was having mouse issues there. Oh, I see. It just looked strange. As I was coming over that hill, this arrow looked like it was pointed the wrong way. It's not. It's kind of pointing up. just because it's so steep, so we should be okay there. If there was kind of an erroneous node there, I would just delete it. I'll show you how to do that in a moment, so I'm sure we'll find one. And you can turn off the blue arrows once you're comfortable with the route. And it's not done individually. You actually just turn the entire route on or off from showing and being visible. So once you're satisfied with it, you can get rid of it. All these look good. I haven't seen any that were all doubled up or strange looking. I managed to keep my speed up pretty much the entire way, which is good because that'll make it a very efficient route. Alright, so right over here by the station, and when I was having problems with that wildlife, you can see there's a lot going on here. That's a pause at a station. The blue pause is just a pause mid-route, and all those arrows there were because we were moving very slowly at that time because this guy was stuck under our truck. So what you can actually do with that is if you get real close to a node, you can delete them. You can't move its position, but you can just delete it. And what that'll do is make the truck go a normal speed through there. And I'm gonna edit that node and just remove it. We don't need a pause there. And we're gonna go ahead and get rid of that node as well. That should solve any stuttering there or slow driving. The pause here at the station, we waited for 31.5 seconds. You only need about 24 seconds typically, but since it took us that long for a load, I will go ahead and hit 30 seconds and hit set wait time. It asks you for a confirm, you say yes. And that's it for dealing with the station nodes. You'll want to do it on both of the stations. And keep an eye out for any other problems you may have had. So, although you can't change the positions of the nodes, you still do get a little bit of control for post-editing in case something doesn't work out perfectly. Sometimes just deleting some nodes can save a track from being a problem. Okay, all this is good. Now, based on the length of this route, it's really not bad. It's not terribly long. And the node that we're actually pulling ore from will only provide 600 per minute. I have a feeling one truck is probably going to be enough on this route, but I'll let one run for a while and see how it's doing, see what the throughput looks like before I add another truck. And adding another truck's very easy. You don't have to re-record the route. You just assign the second truck to the route, and you're good to go. I also checked fuel as far as turbo fuel usage, because that's what I'm using in the truck right now. We consumed a total of 4 turbo fuel for running the entire route. So I give you an idea of how much consumption you're looking at. Alright, there were no other bad nodes on the route. Other fuel types will consume different amounts. Be aware of that if you're using coal or batteries or regular fuel or whatever you're running. So remember, we want to check the wait time in the station. We waited 27 seconds. I'll just change it to 30 just because that's what the other one was at. You can, if you're really tight on time, meaning you really need more throughput, you can tweak those as long as you make sure you're getting everything unloaded. It's actually pretty quick to load and unload. And I'm just going to park the truck right here. And right here is that hide path nodes, just in case you were wondering there. So if I enable autopilot, the truck will go ahead and go and start following the route and do its job. I'm not going to do that yet because I still don't have my turbo fuel down here. I have a little work to do on the train to get that last train station bringing in turbo fuel for the trucks. So I've got to do that work. I hope that this overview on how I plan a truck route has helped you in some way. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.